And when I went from Morristown, I came to Crown Heights. But one of my friends told me about Meir Roness, and he needed somebody to collect for him. So I went to Meir Roness, and he told me he needed somebody to collect for the Pushkas, for the Lubavitch youth. So I started doing it. So we see that it was 33 years ago. 33, of course, is it represents like Palmer, it's 33. And you see that the parsha that we just had from Moshe Rabbeinu, Moshe Rabbeinu was in the palace of Paroi, and there was no reason for Moshe Rabbeinu to leave the house. He had the best. He was in the palace. He had the best that he could have. But he wanted to go out and to be with his brothers. Same thing with Meir Roness. Meir Roness never did things for himself. He did it only for others. All the tonnage shares that he did, he went all over the place. And he used to always ask me if I have enough money. He needed money for the drivers and for the people giving the share. So I used to give him. I used to go collect and I used to give the money that he needed. And Meir Roness happened to be one of the best bosses I had because he never demanded how much I had to raise. Whatever I raised, and that was good. So Mashiach should bring Mashiach right away. Immediately.
Short to the point.
Yeah, short to the point.
Now our last speaker for the evening, it is Aaron Ginsberg, in Borough Park, working with the Frum Olam, and had a lot to do together with Meir in how to reach out to the Frum Olam.
Chaim. I was also zeicher, amongst countless others, to Niskadavli Lana the Chaya, very much through the Meir. Not going to bore you with a long story, but it's definitely not so adventurous like the previous experience out in the cornfields or wherever it was. But it was one night walking down 16th Avenue in Borough Park. A bacher stops me and he encourages me to join the Shir Tanya that Rebbe was very instrumental for many, many years, organizing Rabbi Yael to come to give a Shir Tanya in Borough Park every Thursday night. And I joined a short while later. We were a group of Bachrim, and we wanted more. So the Thursday night wasn't enough. We went to the Meir, who very eagerly arranged for another night of the week to have Bachrim come and teach us a little bit more on a Machteres level. Chassidus, we learned for 2 years straight, and oftentimes, here with the Pagada, he would send people to come to Fabreng, organize the Fabreng, and every single week, rain or shine, the Meir arranged these shiurim, and it's a tremendous chuz what the Rebbe writes about in Godl's chusay v'ashrei chelkai, etc., etc. But when we gather here tonight for the yahrzeit of the Meir, and the Meir is definitely very present here, all of us who know the Meir can imagine that he would not really appreciate all these tehillas and tishbachas. Reminds me of a story where someone came by the Rebbe, when the Rebbe was in the house, and as he walks by, the Rebbe stops him and tells him how he must have an influence in his community in the field of chinuch, education. So you see on the video, he like shocked, and he stops and he tells the Rebbe, "Rabbi, you're amazing. 19 years ago, when I was by you, you're continuing now a conversation from 19 years ago. You're You were talking to me about the very same topic, about influencing my environment in the field of education. And the Rebbe responds and says, what will the community gain by the fact that I am amazing? You must do in the field of education. The Rebbe continues with encouraging him to do what he needs to do. We can say likewise that a mayor is not one who will gain, who is interested in hearing Tilzish Bachas, but rather for him to see that the Mesiras Nefesh that he had all the years and the accomplishments that he had is something that we are now taking upon ourselves not only to continue, but to go Michael El Choyel, and this means in Pashat Teverte, that each and every one of us, in whatever capacity we are, the Rebbe tells us in Hayem Yem that the purpose of a Balei Sikim, never mind the Yeshaveh, why is he in the field of ASIC? So he has an opportunity to meet people. What do you do when you meet people? You invite them to a shir, to a fabrengen, to kadema. So even if one feels that one is not necessarily equipped to give a formal shir chassidus, but there's much that can be done to finding out where there are shiurim, encouraging people to join shiurim, and sometimes it might be a fabrengen, a shir, and many are very shaykh to give shiurim. Today, one must not be this great orator or gewaldige speaker or chvezvas or big London. Today, the world is dire, desperate, thirsty, in an unparalleled in history for Chassidus. The Rebbe tells us about the Nar Becha, Kel Yelad Becha. There's a silent cry of Yidden that are thirsty for true Yiddishkeit, true Pnimius. Chassidus is the only answer today in the response to the Magefes Ruchnias of Ikas and the Mashiach. This is what we know. So Memela today, the demand is greater than ever. All that we have to do oftentimes is just to connect, refer people here, there's a shir, or if we know that people are shaykh to make a shir, to get somebody to organize a shir. Recently in Gemana Balaisik, he works in a big warehouse. So he calls me 2 months ago, and he says, I have an opportunity to make a lunch and learn once a month. I think it's the year of Hakel. What can I do? I told him very simple. Prepare something of art in the parsha and share it with the people there. He did it 1 month, the second month, the third month already, and it's growing, and people are so receptive and appreciative for what he's doing. Today there's so much resources in every language, in every area of Chassidus, whether it's a formal Limud Chassidus or even Svarim that just speak about the Arum for Chassidus. We have so many resources that we can just take them and share them. I want to conclude with one story that I just recently saw about Reb David Raskin. The Rebbe, in the days, in the month leading up to Yud Shvat, Tavshin Yud Aleph, the Rebbe encouraged that everyone should have an influence on 10 Yidden, whether Machshava, Dibur, or Maisa, and bring them in Makar of them. So David then, a Bacher, keeping Zdarim, and Beina Zdarim, specifically Friday afternoon, he tried to have his opportunity to bring 10 Yidden. So there was a particular dry cleaners on Eastern Parkway, Albany or Troy, I'm not sure exactly where it was, and there was a Yid there, and he came in every week and tried to encourage him to put on film. So went 1 week, another week, and the fellow wouldn't hear about it. Fatribim, he threw him away 1 week after another week, and after a while he was getting angry, he was getting annoyed. So finally 1 week he tells him, David, listen, you come here again, I'll physically throw you out of the store. So David, when he told the story, he said, one thing I can tell you about this fellow, he's a man of his word. The following week, I came into the store, and as I only went over the doorpost, he came over and Pasha threw me out. So I was very distraught. I didn't know what this means. Here I'm trying so hard to bring 10 Yidden. It's not working. In those days, it was easier to approach the Rebbe. He went in and knocked on the door and went into the Rebbe. And he says the Rebbe hastened, I don't know the lashon he used, to bring 10 Yidden, and I'm trying so hard. And he shared his experience with his dry cleaners, that the fellow just wouldn't hear of him, and is threatening to throw him out. He threw him out. So this is what the Rebbe told him, that people in life go through different periods in life. Specifically, when you reach a milestone, another 10 years, another decade in your life, people change their mindset, their perspective changes. You never know what an influence people will accept after a particular milestone. And the Rebbe tells him, this fellow is now in that kufa. Keep on trying. Next week, the David comes, and he goes into the store, and as he's about to go in, the guy is like, Hashman, he's ready to, the David goes and tells him, Mazel Tov. Mazel Tov. On your birthday. Shocked. That week, he celebrated his 50th birthday. So here he said, I got to hear what this is all about. What's behind this? So David told him, I went into the Rebbe, and the Rebbe shared with me that although that you've been quite antagonistic till now, but I should still try, because, you know, there's a certain milestone in life that will have an influence, might have a change. On the spot, he rolled up his sleeves, and David put on tefillin on him, and he had a tremendous hashpah on Bimakar this Yid. There's much to be learned in the story, but on a very, very practical level. Oftentimes, we might give up and say, I tried this fellow, nah, he's not shy, he's in a different mindset, he's in a different world, different atmosphere, but we never know what might have been a turning point in that person's life. Not necessarily that everyone has to celebrate their 50th birthday to have an hashpah, but people have experiences in life. And from that week, something might have going on in his life, l'tev, rachman l'mutiv, whatever it might be, and you never know if he's waiting for somebody to come and approach him, to connect him to Ilana Dechaya. That is the mindset that the Rebbe wants us to have, especially now as we prepare for Yud Shvat, where if then the Rebbe wanted 10 Yid, and today the Rebbe wants unlimited influences that we can have, never to give up, chas v'shalom, to recognize that every Yid is meant to be connected. As the Rebbe said, that it's sof kol sof and alle zayin fun anash. The Rebbe says, Klina Sicha, grand in the preparation for Yud Shvat, Toshim and Zayin, the Rebbe said that Lashon in the Mugadik Sicha, that sof kol sof, Chassidus will be widespread, it will be Nachlas HaKlal, everyone will be connected, it's all upon us to see that we do it a moment sooner. This will definitely be a tremendous chus and a meir, and this will give him Nachas to see that his work is only continuing in Mechayel L'Choyel, and no doubt, the best hachana we can have for Yud Shvat and Achas Ruach for the Rebbe, to each and every one of us to take upon ourselves to see, to have an influence on as many Yidden as we can. Together, we will have Kol Godel Yeshuv Oheinu, take from Yad Mamish with the Rebbe's Galas.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank everyone for coming. Continue eating and praying. Again, remember, there's a website. You use shirachassidus.org. Also on the way out there's a pushka, in addition to the chalukah of the Shulchan Aruch.